What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 134 of the Candid Athletic Training Podcast. Do not be alarmed. It's me, it's Chad. I'm riding solo tonight. Kevin is ill. He will be back whenever he is not feeling ill. So this is going to be fun. We are riding solo here, and we're going to do this. We've got a lot of fun. We got a lot of fun for you tonight. It is, what is the day today? We are recording this on July 26th, and it's going to come out August 2nd. Hey, Ed. Welcome back from your hiatus. So this is going to be a fun show. I'm going to lean on the live streamers, as I always do, as we always do. We appreciate our live stream members. Kevin Joyce is in the house, and I am not lying. He is not hungover, although it was one hell of a week here in Milwaukee. Let's just cut to the crap. Milwaukee and Wisconsin right now, as of this minute, is riding high. The Bucks won a championship for the first time in 50 years. The Brewers are in first place. And just as of this afternoon, it looks like our good friend Aaron Rodgers might be back in the fold for one more season. Well, who knows? So welcome again, everyone. We've got a fun show. It's probably going to be a little bit shorter than normal because Kevin's not here, and Kevin likes to talk, and I just kind of point the ship in the right direction. So, a lot of Olympic talk tonight. Before we get into tonight's show, we need to talk about Healthy Roster. Healthy Roster, www.healthyroster.com. They are the official sponsor of the Candid Athletic Training Podcast. Thank you to Dan and all the folks at Healthy Roster for sponsoring the show. If you are in the market, school starting back up, last minute you're deciding you need a new electronic medical record, check them out. Go at healthyroster.com. Let them know that you found about the wow. It's going to be one of those shows. Let them know you heard about them here on the Candid Athletic Training Podcast. They're great. They're just great people, really easy to work with, and they have the best product in the market. So why wouldn't you want it? Also, thank you to Brew Fitness. Ryan just took off. I'm here all by my lonesome. I've got free reign of the place, but Brew Fitness MKE here in Milwaukee. This is where we record the show. If you're in Milwaukee and you need a place to work out, come check it out. They've got fun classes all day long. So, how's everyone doing? Live streamers, get your comments in early. I'm going to read most of them tonight. We're going to lean on you guys. It's going to be a fun show. Strap it in. Here we go. The best part about doing this by myself is trying to figure out all the buttons over here. Normally we divvy some of it up, but it's like, all right, now what do we got to do? So Kevin says it's too bad we don't have a hockey team. We do have an IHL team. The Admirals, I think they're pretty good. I think they've been in the championship several times. It's a fun ticket. They actually play in the same arena that my basketball team plays in. Abby's in the house. She's back. Probably has a blizzard in her hand right now. Kento's in the house. Hannah Chun and Scott Garrich. We're getting a packed house. So, Ed's back for the first time in a long while. We're happy to have you back. Hopefully you are well rested from the social media and you're ready to go here. All right, we're going to start off tonight's show with an easy one. It's Would You Rather. Can't do a top five tonight. Kevin's not here. We're going to do a Would You Rather. Super simple. Would you rather work as an athletic trainer, the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics? And if you're on the live stream, you want to tell me why, that'd be great. And I put this up on social media. If you're listening, you probably know the social media. It's candidathletictraining.com. Let's put that up on the share screen here. 75% say you'd rather work the Summer Olympics. 25% said would rather work the Winter Olympics. And Hannah here said this would be me in the Winter Olympics going to check on someone. And it looks kind of like the hamburger helper oven mitt walking down a runway. Really well bundled up there, Hannah. She says summer one. Well, that would be a 1, 2, 3, 100,000%. Y'all know how cold I get. Kevin, who works hockey, obviously says winter. And Kento just says, great question. Ed says winter. Winter is coming. Jon Snow wannabe here. I think personally, I'm gonna roll with the Summer Olympics. I just tend to like more of the events. I understand them more. I would feel more comfortable. And we have a fun feature topic. It's all about the Summer Olympics. We're gonna get into. Well, I'll just spoil it now because live streamers, write this down or remember it for our feature topic. We're gonna ask you, what would be the most fun Summer Olympic to cover? What would be the hardest Summer Olympic sport to cover? Which Summer Olympic sport is most necessary to have an athletic trainer, and which one might be least necessary? Is there a Summer Olympic sport that you don't really need coverage? So, Abby says she would say winter. She doesn't have a ton of experience with many of those winter sports. Ed says hockey 1, bobsledding 2, biathlon. Ed, they got shooting sports in the Summer Olympics as well. Curling, he says, curling. Kevin says he's been to the skeleton luge bobsled track at Lake Placid, and it was unbelievable. I've been in Calgary, and I've seen some of the training sites, and it's pretty cool. However, I'm kind of rolling with Hannah. I just feel like the summer, I don't want to be cold. Then again, do you really want to take up your summer? I love having my summers off. Is that enough to persuade me into thinking maybe I should just work the Winter Olympics, double up on the bad time of the year, and then just take the summer off and watch them? Because I'd rather enjoy them. Oh, that's a tough call here. No, I think I gravitate. When I think of Olympics, the first thing that I think about track and field, swimming. Next would be, I think, some of the figure skating in the winter. When you think of Olympics, I guess hockey, the most memorable. Although the single most memorable Olympic moment for me is that relay race with Michael Phelps, the year he won 8 gold medals, that huge comeback that they made at the end. I remember there's only a handful of sporting events where I remember where I was, what I was doing, and that feeling. I remember being in bed watching that and jumping up and down in my bed going, holy shit, holy cow, knowing that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I wasn't in my teenage years. I was not even in my 20s. I think I was in my early 30s. Jumping up and down in my bed like my kid. Well, he doesn't jump yet, but I mean, how cool is that to be able to just an event like that? It's cool. It is super cool. So, let's see here. Kento says he'd rather work the summer. He's more familiar with them, and he's just a Summer Olympics person. Ed says shooting and skiing, baby. Hannah doesn't have the summers off, so she'd rather work the Olympics than be at a high school. That's a great point. I'd literally die if I had to work the triathlon when everyone just passes the F out at the finish line. Drives me crazy. Kento says this Olympic Games, surfing, skateboarding, karate, and climbing are the new ones. I think all need ATs for different reasons. That's good. We'll get to that in 1 second. So, again, 75% of the people that answered the poll on Candid_ATC, our Twitter account, said the Summer Olympics. 25% said winter. It seems like our live stream and hockey people, our live streamers are more hockey people, cold weather fans. They're the hardcore people. Of course, they're hardcore. That's why they're live streamers on this. So maybe they can deal with the winter a little bit more. So, all right, here we go. Next up, friend or foe. Simple one. And it just happened. It happens all the time to me. So I just want to know, how do you feel about getting texts or calls or updates from your athletes in your off time? So for me, I'm on a 10-month contract. I get June and July off. If you're in a year-round contract, this probably doesn't apply to you. But maybe there's a slower time. Maybe you're working at the high school. There's not as much going on in the summer. Maybe you're at the college setting. Maybe you're a professional and you have a full-fledged off season. You get that text saying, hey, something's going on with my XYZ. Or, hey, are you in, or do you know when the athletic training room is available? This is going on. Friend or foe? Because the athlete's just trying to be proactive. Can you fault them? But at the same point, it's like, I just want a break. So, friend or foe, let's see what we put it up on social media. We'll start there. Give the live streamers a chance to answer. Friend or foe, athletes texting, calling you in the offseason with injuries. 63% said friend. 37% said foe. Nate said friend. It's a little flattering that they're hundreds of miles away. Or maybe they're not hundreds of miles, but they're just away, or you're away, or whatever. But still look to you for guidance. But at the same time, we're on a break. And there is a friend's gif where we were on a break. Kylie Drost, Kylie says, my mind instantly went to high schoolers, and just from my understanding, it is very unprofessional for the students and athletes to have your phone number. Now, Kylie, that's a great point. Although if you have Healthy Roster as your EMR, they have a way of getting around giving out your personal number. So you can work around that a little bit. So I'm guessing she went foe. Hannah says foe. They know where I am at when I'm at school. My off-season sports can shoot me a text to let me know, and I'll just tell them when and where I am. I don't mind if it's surgical updates, though. Kevin says friend, because at least they care enough about your opinion as to what's going on. Foe, when they either don't listen or just keep pestering when I'm trying to get my summer on. Personally, oh man, this is so tough because you want to help. You always want to help. That's why you got into this profession. As I get older, I get more like my breaks are my breaks. I want to be away, but then does it just cause more work for you when you get back? That's kind of the $1 million question. I just got a text this morning and be like, hey, this is bugging me. And they're starting up in a couple weeks. It's like, do I want to take care of it now when I'm technically off, or do I want it to get worse? And then when I come back, now I got to deal with a bigger pile. Man, there's no right or wrong to this. That's why I love these friend or foes. It's just how you interpret. It's actually becoming one of my favorite segments. If I have to answer. Oh, okay, Abby, thank you. I'll read yours while I still make up my mind. She says, it's annoying, but overall I feel like it's a friend. Sometimes our words are comforting, and all they might need to know is that the world isn't ending. Amen on that. As someone who has fielded calls at 3 a.m., Ed says, and phone's always blowing up during the year, I need a break. I'm there with you, Ed. I'm leaning full. You know what? I'm going to go full for this reason. Unless you are the only staff member at your place of employment and you have a team approach, let someone else carry it for a little bit. Treat it like a relay. An IM in the swim world. No, that's not an IM. just a regular medley, a relay race, whatever. I got my terms. Swimming bothers me. I got my terms wrong. Sorry. A relay race, maybe in track, it's a 4x1, it's a 4x4, whatever. Someone else carry the baton for a little bit. Let me take my 2 months off. There are other athletic trainers. They're just as capable of helping you as I am. And hopefully, if you work with other people, they're just as capable as you are. And maybe it's a fresh set of eyes. Hey, Rick, welcome to the show. It's okay. We all lost track of time. Tell me you were watching the Olympics. Rick, would you rather work the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics? That's what you've missed so far. And friend or foe, athletes texting you on your downtime. So, as I was saying, if you are working with other people, just let them help the athlete. A fresh perspective every once in a while. Maybe it's just reassuring for you for somebody else to see the exact same thing you saw. So you're not like, oh, you know what? I did tell them the right thing. Or maybe somebody else has, hey, let's try this. Or did you think about this? And it's okay to say, oh, let's take a different approach here. So I'm going to say when they text you, it's a foe if you have told them what's available. Rick Cox says he's working the Summer Olympics. One hundo. Soccer, wrestling. There he goes. Very good. So, for me, foe. Rick says foe too. Good enough for me. All right, we're moving on. Again, I'm flying through the show. Kevin's not here to back me up on the long-winded rants, and that's okay. We're gonna do another comic book here for our fictional athletic trainer. It's a show. You know, you're probably tired of comic book talk, but that's who I am. Sorry about it. We're not doing Marvel. We're not doing DC. We're doing a random other TV show that's on Netflix. I highly recommend. It's called The Umbrella Academy. It's fun. It actually is a independent comic book that got, it's a relatively newer comic, and it got picked up for Netflix, and they've had 2 seasons. Season 3, they're filming right now, will be out in next year, 2022. If you are familiar with it, it is a fun show. If not, check it out on Netflix. I'll give you the premise in 1 second. I'm going to start with, if you're a Marvel fan and you just watched the Loki season and you watch Umbrella Academy, you're going to be really disappointed with Loki, because I'm pretty sure they just picked up what Umbrella Academy did in its first 2 seasons and went with that. It's almost like an identical story. The whole time, space, continuum. Umbrella Academy does it pretty good. There's a little bit different. Hey, Kate Adcock. I'm glad that you love that show. Tell me who you feel would be the best fictional athletic trainer from Umbrella Academy if you've seen it, and we'll get into it. So here's the premise. There were this random occurrence of, I think it's 43 children born at the exact same time, midnight, on the same day of the same year, a long time ago, and none of these people were expecting to be having a child. These were all spontaneous births, as weird as that sounds. Sounds like a horror story. So this really eccentric billionaire adopted 7 of these kids because he had the foresight to think that something was going on and that these people all had superpowers, which turns out they all do. So he adopted 7 of them, and he trained them as his own little crime-fighting unit. And we're going to get into a little bit of which character, which ability might help the athletic trainer. So there are 7 of them, and they were numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they do have first names, except for number 5. I don't know number 5. He's just called 5. So we'll go from, well, they're all the exact same age because they were all born at the exact same time. So we're going to start with Luther, who is technically called number 1. He is super strength. Super strength. He was injected with a serum that turned him into half ape. His upper half is like an ape. He was also on the moon for 4 years for a mission. So he was on the moon. He's traveled. So last week we covered space. He's got that locked down for us. So strength is the first ability. The second character, his name is Diego. He's got 2 abilities. One that's not even talked about in the TV show. I just found it when I just did a little quick Wikipedia on him. He can hold his breath really, really, really long. I don't know how that helps unless you are helping someone underwater. Maybe he should be covering Summer Olympics. But he has the ability to curve anything that he throws. And he traditionally throws knives, so he can curve knives. He would make a good pitcher if he can curve anything he throws. You can just dropping curveballs in there anytime he wants. But a knife thrower. So we got a super strength, which I think would help a little bit in certain things in carrying athletes. Sometimes we've talked about on this program before, the super strength could be a drawback. Joint mobilization's gone wrong. It's going to help with carrying things, kits. It's going to help with carrying coolers. But otherwise, strength might be a little bit overrated. Kate makes a good point here about Diego. He's got anger issues. He is definitely the hot-headed vigilante of the group. He's probably my favorite character in the show, but he would not make a good athletic trainer. Kevin asked, wasn't there a movie where they curved bullets? Yes, that was Wanted, I believe it was called. I think Angelina Jolie was in it. Morgan Freeman was in it. I forgot who the main actor was. I always confuse him. But yes, I'm pretty sure there was curving bullets. All right, so back to the Umbrella Academy. The third child, Allison, she has a mind control ability. She can say the phrase, I heard a rumor, and whatever she fills in the blank, whatever is after I heard a rumor, she can get that person to 100% of the time do whatever she says after I heard a rumor. It's almost like hypnotist or mind control. She can use it for good or for evil. She has used it for good or for evil. She's an actress in her daytime job. She's a mother. She has, I think she'd be a strong candidate here. I mean, deep down, as much as we don't want to admit it, all of us would love to be able to Jedi mind trick or mind control our athletes to get them to do whatever. Whether it's just tell the truth about an injury, whether it's to finish their rehab, whether it's to do their concussion baseline or the concussion test or whatnot. There are so many times where an athlete is holding out, but just being able to say, I heard a rumor that, man, that would be great. Or how about this? Hey, coach, I heard a rumor that practice was over. I heard a rumor that everyone left the athletic training room. I heard a rumor that y'all let me eat my lunch. Allison, she's, in season 2, they all get sent back to Dallas, early 1960s, right before JFK was assassinated. She was hardcore in some civil rights movements. So her heart is in the right place. She often resists using her ability because she feels like she can take advantage of it, and she tries really, really hard not to, unless it's an emergency situation, which I think is good. So she wants to do well. She wants to get by on her own merits and not use her ability, but it's there in her back pocket as she needs it, and I can respect that. So the fourth child, his name is Klaus, and he's probably the worst of the group. He is... His special ability is to talk. He can talk to the dead. So if someone is deceased, he can just have a conversation with them. So, tough for an athletic trainer. It's not going to help too much unless you just need, maybe you want to just talk to somebody that's previously had the same injury and you just want to get some perspective on what helped, what didn't help. The problem with Klaus is he's also an alcoholic and a drug addict. And he can usually, well, in the beginning, he could only talk to the dead people when he was sober, and he was never sober. We're just going to write him off. He's pretty much useless as an athletic trainer. So Kento says, super strength. How strong do you need to be to rip the ACL with Lockmans? You don't want to be that strong. I agree. We've talked about that. Mobilization's gone wrong. Super strength, you got to be really careful with it. Okay, number 5, whose name is 5. He has the ability to travel time and space, so he can hop from moment to moment, from location to location. I think he would be good in a tournament setting, covering different wrestling mats, covering tournament volleyball tournaments, whatever it might be. You need to be in multiple places at once. 5 is your athletic trainer for those type of situations. He now is a huge prick, and none of his brothers and sisters really care for him. He is a little cocky. He's a little conceited. He is take charge, which I think can be good. He's he's probably the most calm in the high intensity situations, the oh shit moments. 5 is really cool, calm, collected. So I will give him that. Time and space, teleportation is kind of a neat trick. He's also considered like the number 1 assassin in the history of the world. He can just kill anybody. That's not going to help as an athletic trainer, but just knowing that he's good at what you do, there's something there. Okay, here's a dark horse. Ben is has been dead the entire time we've been watching this show. The only way you get to know what he's saying is because he talks to Klaus, who can talk to the dead people. So Ben travels around with Klaus. Ben's super talent when he was alive is that he could randomly summon tentacles, like 4 or 6 tentacles, to help him with his job. Picture Dr. Octopus like that. So now Ben has, in season 2, he's learned to jump into Klaus's body, and he can kind of act a little bit through jumping into other people. I don't know how well that trick, I don't think he can stay there forever. But tentacles, extra appendages, that is a cool thing. We talked about this with Dr. Octopus. One tentacle's over here typing in notes while this one's working on an athlete, giving a massage. This one over here is maybe filling up your coolers. We're just talking time saving. So Ben is a little bit of a dark horse to me. Kind of depends on this whole, do you care if he's alive or not? It's a cool trick. And number 7, her name is Vanya. She was raised believing that she had no abilities, but found out she actually does. When she concentrates on sound, if she hears a noise and she can lock in on it, she can channel that into energy, which she can then basically blow up anything. So tough. I mean, she's very, very, very powerful as a superhero, but I don't see any situation where sending out sonic booms would help you as an athletic trainer. So she's out in my world. I just want to, of those 7, we've got super strength. We've got the knife thrower. We've got the mind control. We've got the guy that talks to dead people. We have jumping through time and space. We have tentacles, and we have energy blasts if you listen to sound. So mind control is up there with Allison. Jumping through time and space. You know what? I got to go with 5. I'm going to go with time and space. As much as I would love to say the tentacles that Ben has and the mind control that Allison has, the ability to jump through time and space, we talked about this in episode number 1 with the Flash. If you can jump back in time 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds and save an athlete from hurting themselves, it's a redo. That's the ultimate party trick. Maybe you could be jumping back well, jumping from field to field as needed, getting there really quickly. And then if it's a really bad issue, you're going to jump back in time and maybe we get a redo. So 5 is going to be mine, even though he's a complete jerk, a complete condescending, confident, cocky prick. He's going to be the best athletic trainer. Fun fact, they also have a monkey as kind of like a butler, and their mom is a robot. I think both of them would be kind of fun to talk about too. But so anyways, that's Umbrella Academy. I highly recommend the show. If you like comic books, you like abilities, stuff like that, it is very well done. I'll leave it at that. So that is your fictional athletic trainer. All right, we're going to roll into FMK here. We're going to give you one Olympic FMK, and then we're going to give you one athletic training FMK this week. So real quick, when it comes to the Olympics, opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, or the medal ceremonies, F1, marry one, kill one. And then, in terms of athletic training, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about elbow ranges of forearm ranges of motion. Okay? We're going to do pronation, supination. We're going to do flexion, extension, and ulnar radial deviation. So oftentimes when you're doing an elbow rehab, those are what come up. Maybe you're working baseball. Maybe you're working another upper extremity. So those pairs of exercises, you have to F1, marry one, kill one. Pronation, supination, flexion, extension, ulnar radial deviation. Okay? So we're going to start with, and if you're on the live stream, give me your answers. I'd love to read them here. Opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, and the medal ceremonies. For me, I'm killing the closing ceremonies. I feel like most of the athletes are have taken off already if they don't need to stick around. It's been 2.5 weeks. I don't understand what the closing ceremonies are 100%. They just don't have that same oomph as the opening ceremonies. So I'm going to marry the opening ceremonies. To me, I'm going to learn the most from them. One, I use it as a geography lesson because I am the worst at geography. I love hearing about all these. I love hearing about countries I've never even remembered. It's like, oh yeah, this place. I like to know how many. I like to see how many athletes from these small countries make it. It's kind of cool, and you're like excited. The medal ceremony, I'm gonna F with that. I think it's a little too much, a little redundant. I don't need to see every single one. However, it can be pretty emotional and cool to see like a few of them. So I want to see like either the breakdown, like the surprise athlete, or maybe they just went through something traumatic before they got to the Olympics. They win, their song's playing. I want to see that reaction. So give me that, and then kill the closing ceremonies. So on the live stream here, Ed says he's marrying the opening, the joy and excitement for the games. Kill the closing ceremonies because I am sad they are over. Kevin Joyce says F the medal ceremony. There's a lot. That's a lot. Kevin beating me to it for the same reason. Kento says marrying the opening for sure. I love to see the athletes' excitement. The fun thing about the opening ceremonies is you get to see the flag bearers who represent your country or the other countries, and how did they pick them? It's just kind of neat. Kevin Joyce says F the medal ceremony. There's a lot of opportunities to do it. He's going for volume. Marry the opening. It's a pretty cool party, and kill the closing. Is there even a point? I don't think so. I really don't. I did miss. So the opening ceremonies, you're learning a little bit about the host culture as well. I think it's kind of neat to be able to see how each country who's hosted, what's important to them, how they celebrate. Is it a music? Is it dancing? It's just so much. It's so refreshing to see other cultures. To me, I love it. It reminds me that I am so sheltered, and while I am grateful to be here, that we need to remember that there are other places and other ways of doing things. So I think that's important. All right, let's start talking about forearm, elbow rehab, different ranges of motion. As a baseball athletic trainer, I get these forearm issues all the time. What are the exercises I do? Well, there's only 6 of them. Well, 7 if you include grip strength. But I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna put that in here. There's a bug. I got it. Okay. So in terms of these sets of exercises, I'm going to kill ulnar and radial deviation. Tomahawk chop. I think it's the least important of them. So I think I can do without it. We're going to get rid of ulnar and radial deviation. In terms of pronation and supination and flexion extension, how do we want to go here? I actually think I'm going to marry the pronation and supination, and I'm going to F the flexion extension. I think flexion extension is done too much, and I think I think you need to taper it. We don't have that kind of endurance, people. As much as you think you do, you don't. I think we get imbalances in flexion and extension. I think we need to work way more on wrist reverse curls and extension, and chill on the forearm flexion. We have this muscle imbalance that's leading to most of the injuries we have. So I think it's important, but I think we overdo it, and I think it causes some issues, so I will F with that. Pronation and supination I feel like is really important. I don't think you can overdo it. If you are with your overhead athletes, your throwers, I think the rotational component here is super important. I think strengthening your pronators and supinators is going to help give you the most benefit in terms of preventing maybe a ligament issue. And let's go back to some of the comments here. Hannah says, okay, am I the only one who always gets confused at which direction is which when it comes to deviation? I feel like it should be the opposite. Ulnar, pinky, radial, thumb. So I don't know if you're the only one. Ulnar. I don't know. Everyone else on the live stream, let Hannah know if she's crazy, if she's the only one that gets it confused. Going back to the Olympics, Abby says she agrees with Kevin. After the medals, I enjoy the opening ceremony. Seeking the pride that these athletes have is sweet. Seeing the pride they have is sweet. And kill the closing ceremonies. Most everyone has gone home. Kento agrees with me. Thank you, Kento. He thinks that supination and pronation really underrated. You know what I really like? I've picked up one of my favorite things right now is doing pronation and supination with some BFR. Do some blood flow restriction, supination, and pronation. I think you'll get a lot to it. Hannah says, yes, but you're going towards the bone that it's naming. Isn't that the point? in anatomical position? Yeah, you're going towards ulnar deviation, radial deviation. Maybe I'm not following. All right, Kevin says, Mary, supination, pronation, how else can you eat? That is 100%. Could you imagine not being able to turn? You just have to face palm. Oh, I just hit my microphone stand, but no, you'd have to actually invent new. This is Kevin, this is going to be a great, like, completely off topic rant here. You'd have to invent completely new silverware and a complete new system on how to eat. Palm based silverware. No pronation, supination. All right. What would that look like? Maybe you should get in it, Kevin. No, you shouldn't. It's probably a waste of money. He's effing the deviation because it's that motion. It's that motion. Oh, so he likes it. Kill flexion extension. It's the root cause of so much elbow issues cause. No one wants to be the cool kid doing wrist curls in the squat rack. Yeah, that's true. It just doesn't look cool. Should you deviate away from the bone that you're mentioning? Hannah's back. Maybe deviation is the wrong term. Just go ulnar movement, radial movement. Just cut the deviate out. Deviate sounds like it's a dirty term too, like you're doing something wrong, you're doing something naughty. You should never deviate. Just do ulnar movement and do radial movement. Deviate does sound like you're doing something inappropriate. Kento says, my sweet athlete with a Achilles fracture struggled with pronation, supination the most, and it caused a lot of issue on the rehab. Yeah, I agree. Again, try, if you have access to blood flow restriction, try some ulnar or try some pronation, supination with some BFR. The other thing I did a lot of, Kevin wants to use GIFs in the chat and be naughty. I love it. Just put it on the Candid ATC Twitter account. Forearm rehab is not, there's nothing groundbreaking about it. It is just diligent and making sure you are using good form and just sticking to it. It's really boring. It's so boring. In fact, as a baseball athletic trainer, I'm like, man, is there something new out there? No? Okay, just keep doing it. And my athletes get so bored. They're like, what should I do for this? I said, the same thing we've been doing for several months. We cannot reinvent every wheel here. There's no magic fix. So, unfortunate. All right. We did a would you rather. We did a friend or foe. We did a fat. We did an FMK. It means it's time for our feature topic. We are flying through this episode. Thank you for sticking with me, everyone. All right. Our feature topic is Summer Olympic related. So if you're on the live stream, I want you to think about this and get your answers in now. I'm going to read through the list of the Summer Olympic sports in just a second. And as I'm going through it, which Summer Olympic sport would be most fun to cover? Which Summer Olympic sport would be hardest for you to cover? Which one is most necessary to have an athletic trainer at? Which one is least necessary to have an athletic trainer at? Okay, so those are the four. And I'll give you my answers here. I have a website here. All right, we are just going to read through the Summer Olympic sports here. 3-on-3 basketball, which I was watching earlier today. In fact, I'm not going to lie. I thought this was really entertaining. Way more than the regular basketball. 3-on-3. I don't know how long it's been an Olympic sport. Kudos. It was fun to watch because it was a bunch of people I'd never heard of before. It was way fast paced. The game was short. It was like 10-minute total. First one to 21. It was cool. All right. So 3-on-3 basketball, archery, artistic gymnastics, artistic swimming, which I believe is synchronized swimming. The next one just says athletics. I don't even know what that means. Badminton, baseball, softball, basketball, beach volleyball, BMX freestyle, BMX racing, boxing, canoeing and kayak flat water, canoe and kayak slalom, which I saw today. It looks incredibly challenging for the athlete. Diving, equestrian, fencing, football, which is soccer, golf, handball, hockey. Oh, must be field hockey, judo, karate, marathon swimming, modern pentathlon, which looks like swimming, fencing, horseback riding, shooting, and running. That is a lot of different things. Mountain bike, rhythmic gymnastics. All right, we got a candidate there. Road cycling, rowing, rugby, sailing, shooting, skateboarding, sport climbing, surfing, swimming, table tennis, taekwondo, tennis, track cycling, trampoline. Oh, I got questions on trampoline. Triathlon, volleyball, water polo, weightlifting, and wrestling. That is a lot of sports here. Oh my gosh. Track and field is athletics. I just thought that was all right. Track and field is athletics. Thank you for the clarification. Athletics is just running. Okay. Rick says most like to cover rock climbing. Least like to cover fencing by far. Most needed is rugby or boxing. Least needed swimming maybe. Maybe they all need us. I'm going to agree that rugby and boxing is. Although boxing, do you need an athletic trainer or do you just need a doctor just to stop the fight? Not quite sure. Rugby for sure. Least needed swimming maybe? Not sure. Okay, his least like to cover was fencing. And I'm not going to lie, I watched fencing. I watched the American win the gold medal 2 nights ago. I was all in. I want to try it. I want to do it. I think maybe it's because I really have some sort of weird, creepy affiliation for like the medieval times. Like I wish I would have been born in the medieval times. The jousting, the sword fighting, the swashbuckling, all that stuff. I'm in on the fencing. And I didn't know they have 3 different like weight classes. Foil is the lightest. I think that's how they started. I don't know what the other 2 are. I want to check out more. I'm super excited about it. All right. Abby says she can't even pick one that she can't cover. Well, maybe sailing. Hannah says most like the trampoline, least table tennis, most unnecessary table tennis. And she can't remember all the categories. That's fine. Kevin says most like to cover surfing, least like the marathon swimming. Most needed would be rugby, and least needed would be skeet shooting. All right. As we go through here. Oh, you know what? I did put this on social media, one of these questions here. Let me see what I did here. What would be the hardest Summer Olympic sports for you to cover? Let's see what the answers were. What would be the hardest? Colin Gentry said entering physicals into the computer would be the hardest Summer Olympic sport. Ryan says equestrian. Ben Rockwell said the hardest to watch would be speed walking. The hardest to cover is a tie between modern pentathlon and canoe kayaking. Rebecca says synchronized swimming would be the hardest to cover. Chris says triathlon. Try keeping up. And then Nate says the hardest to cover in terms of having to sit through it and watch, wondering the entire time is why is this in the Olympics? He said horse dressage, aka fancy prancing, in equestrian. In terms of most work, water polo. It's brutal from what I've heard. And Leprechaun 3834 said dressage is hard. It takes years of training to get to that level, and the rider's job is to make it look easy. Go to YouTube and look up Vallegro, as he was the best at this. He's retired now, but the rider has another horse, Pumpkin, she's competing on. I must say, I cannot or will not say anything negative about horse riding, as my wife was on an equestrian team. She jumped horses. And one, I got on the horse for about a minute and a half. I'm like, this horse is too big. Get me down. I'm going to get hurt. And she's standing in front of the thing doing all sorts of incredible things, commanding it with just her voice and pulling on the reins. And then she's got to get that thing going and then do jumps. And if you've ever seen them, when the horse doesn't want to go and pulls up at the last second, you're going to flip. You're going to go ass over the horse. You're going to get bucked. You're going to get thrown. My wife's had her teeth knocked out. She's been bitten by a horse. She's been thrown multiple times. I cannot say that an athletic trainer is not needed, and I cannot say that it's easy. Now, at her school, I believe the athletic trainer was obviously not on site covering, but just in the athletic training room available. I'm not quite sure how it is at the Olympic level. Let's see here. Abby said she couldn't work the triathlon. Hannah says, I think skateboarding as an Olympic sport is dumb. Kevin says he worked sailing when he was an intern. It was actually a busy day when we would host. The amount of rope burn and blisters he would deal with is kind of numbing, he said. Mind numbing. And Abby said she's worked rowing regattas. That's fun to work. Sailing is different. I'm not quite sure. All right, so we're going to go through this again here. For me, the most fun, I'm not going to lie, the sports that I really, and maybe it's not the fun to work, but fun to watch. Call me silly. I love watching table tennis. I like people being watching the really obscure sports that you're like, how do you get that good? So to me, table tennis is in my, I want to see it. I think it would be fun. I think, what else? Looking through the list here, what else would be fun? I'll tell you, oh boy, yeah. 3-on-3 was actually fun watching. Fun would be badminton to me. I love racket sports. I wish they had some racket ball. Let's see here. What else? Beach volleyball would be fun to me. That'd be a fun one to cover. And when we had our draft, I took it for a reason. All right. Hardest to cover. In terms of, I think it's a workload thing. Wrestling. I bet you they really, maybe rugby. I think you guys are right. Rugby. Wrestling's probably a lot. In terms of hardest to cover, because, man, I'm going to be bored out of my mind, I got to go rhythmic gymnastics. I don't even know. Oh, boy, rhythmic gymnastics and trampoline. I bet you trampoline there's going to be some injuries, though. I don't even understand what the point. Can anybody tell me on the live stream what the point of trampoline is? Kevin said no ATC is going to stop a horse doing from what it did to Christopher Reeves. Wow. And Hannah says that's why she loves trampoline. Have you seen it? It's incredible. I got someone tell me when it's on. I'm going to check it out. All right. The most necessary has got to be rugby. For sure, rugby coverage. Least necessary. If you get hurt, man, I don't think it's really probably necessary for table tennis. Taekwondo is probably necessary. I bet you if you're doing it right. Most necessary. Okay, water polo. No offense. I've always said water polo might be the hardest sport for the shoulder. Imagine all the shoulder injuries you get swimming, and then all the throwing injuries you get, the shoulder injuries you get throwing, and combine them in the water polo. That's why I said that's one sport I would never, ever, 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 ever want to work. I'd watch it. I think it'd be fun to watch, but I would, man, those shoulders have got to be terrible. Shooting. Do you need an athletic trainer? Okay, I was covering, I was in the airport coming back on a baseball trip, and I was in the airport, and another team showed up, and I just found the athletic trainer. I just wanted to say hi and be like, "Oh, what do you cover?" And she covered 2 sports. I forget what the first one was, and the second one was like biathlon shooting. And I went, "What do you do?" And it was all heart rate variability, getting your heart rate down, controlled. I mean, you're not really hurting your trigger finger that much, but it's all just like a heart rate, vestibular balance, eye tracking stuff. So do I think that's really necessary for an athletic trainer? I'm not sure, but I've met one at least. And I'm not trying to poop on any of these sports. If you cover these sports, please reach out to us on social media and let us know. Would love to hear more about your sport and the type of injuries that you go through and how much you enjoy it. You know what? I would love to watch handball. That would be a fun sport for me to cover. Okay. Mountain biking, probably should have an athletic trainer there. Road biking, I don't know. There's some crashes. Canoeing, definitely. Badminton, not sure. I'd really have fun watching it. All right, I'm going to go artistic swimming. Boy, oh boy, maybe I'm wrong there. I agree with Hannah that we had to invent sports for like Olympic stuff, like BMX stuff and skateboarding and stuff for the U.S. to do well in, and now we're not even doing that well. Okay, last one, least necessary. What's the least necessary? I got to go no, there's some bounding, there's some jumping. Golf, do you really, boy oh boy, do you need golf coverage? All your stuff is going to happen beforehand. Boy, I'm going to say marathon swimming would be tough. Diving is nerve-wracking, that's for sure. Actually, diving's probably right up there in terms of most important to cover. Archery, man, oh man. All right, last official answer. I'm going to say road. Nope, I can't say that. Can't make my mind on the least necessary. I'm sure, I guess you can make an argument for any of them. So, with that being said, I am going to say shooting. Shooting, least necessary. Boy, oh boy. What did I miss here? Let's wrap this up here. Powerlifting could have some legit injuries. They had an elbow dislocation. Beach volleyball, let's see. Came to Cincinnati a number of years ago. That was a great experience. TKD is badass. What's TKD? All three of my kids participate. One has their black belt. Oh, Taekwondo. An AT is definitely needed. Apparently, shooting people hurt their backs and stuff, but that's just like for rifle. I don't know if that's different than shooting. I worked handball and was fun. Played a little while too. I hurt my back sometimes getting out of bed. Oh wait, I'm old. I'm sure there should be shoulder pathology from holding the rifle up for that long. Netball. Can't understand that sport. I always volunteer to cover golf tournaments here. Just drive around in a car and practice chipping when no one is around. I think as a golf athletic trainer, all your work is done before the event. What are you going to do during? Okay, really fun. Let's do this. We're going to wrap this thing up. I made it an hour. I don't know how. I thought this would be much faster. I must have got long-winded. I apologize. So thank you for checking out the Candid Athletic Training podcast. My name is Chad Henneberry. You can find us on social media, Candid_ATC. Kevin should be back next week. Hopefully you are having fun with the Olympics. It is such a good time of the year to revel in sport. Just a cool reminder about how much is out there, how important this is to some people, and that we have such a small role in it. But it can be important. So if you enjoy the podcast, make sure you go to our website, candidathletictraining.com. Get yourself a membership so you can join the live stream. We'd love to hear more of you. Add your comments and add your participation to these shows. It's what drives us. Get yourself some gear, some discount on merchandise by getting a membership. And also, we are continuing to look for companies that want to partner with us that will reward our members. So, again, the social media, Candid_ATC. The website, CandidAthleticTraining.com. Appreciate y'all. We will see you next week. Take care, y'all. Knowledge is king.